Late-night diners are usually sanctuaries. You get some greasy food, sit in a quiet booth, and escape the world for an hour. But this story describes a kitchen that strips away that comfort, forcing you to physically consume your deepest trauma. The account comes from a no-sleep post by an anonymous night cook working at a liminal, ownerless roadside dhaba. This diner operates with a chilling anomaly. Customers don't order, and the menus are completely blank. Instead, the kitchen bell rings and a ticket prints, dictating a meal that recreates the exact taste of the customer's worst memory. The horror stems from the subversion of a biological imperative. The story weaponizes the act of eating, turning the very mechanism of survival into a delivery system for a panic attack. We see this in the first ticket. A young guy sits at booth 3, and the kitchen demands aloo paratha with extra butter and pickle, just like the night his mother died. The cook prepares it, the customer weeps into the plate, and he leaves in silence. This process mirrors the psychological concept of the Proustian moment, a phenomenon where a specific taste or smell involuntarily unlocks a sudden, visceral return of a past memory. While Marcel Proust famously used a Madeleine cake to access the warmth of his childhood, the diner applies this mechanic as a weapon. It uses the same neurological pathway to ensure there is no escape from the past. The kitchen effectively administers a supernatural form of exposure therapy, forcing its victims to physically digest their grief, one bite at a time. The pattern hardens with the second ticket. The kitchen bell rings, demanding chicken biryani made extra spicy, the exact meal a father was eating when he collapsed and died in front of his son. Throughout these exchanges, the cook remains a detached observer. He follows the tickets with mechanical precision, believing his position behind the grill insulates him from the pain he is serving to others. A 4-step loop. Bell rings, ticket prints, trauma cooked, customer leaves. The trauma cooked bottleneck leaves the cook a bystander. This mirrors scrolling internet horror. We receive a notification, consume a tragedy, and keep scrolling, assuming the screen protects us. To bridge the gap between fiction and reality, the author uses grounding sensory descriptions. The sizzle of butter on a hot tawa and the smell of sharp spices make the setting feel physically present. Curiously, the author provides almost no physical description of the diner itself. The claustrophobia comes from the rules of the world rather than the architecture of the building. This entire repeating pattern is an architectural trap. It lures the audience into a state of comfort with the suffering of others, right before the rules are turned inward. The loop breaks at 3:12 a.m. The bell rings, and the waitress smiles at the cook, telling him that table 9 is ready. But the dining room is completely empty. There is no table 9. The cook is alone in the kitchen with a ticket meant for himself. The ticket calls for paneer butter masala with extra butter and a cold coffee. It is the exact meal he was eating on the night he committed a crime so terrible he has spent months repressing it. The previous patrons were haunted by things they lost, but the cook is confronted by something he chose. The diner has moved from serving the victims of tragedy to cornering its perpetrator. The kitchen functions as a bespoke purgatory, a space designed solely to extract a confession from anyone standing at the stove. The cook's sin manifests physically on the pass-through. He describes the smell of the melting butter not as food, but as the literal scent of his own guilt. The final ticket is an ultimatum. Eating the meal forces a total return of his memory, which will permanently trap him in the diner as its latest regular. The story's format provides the chilling resolution. If the Reddit post disappears, it serves as silent proof that the cook ate the meal and accepted his place in the diner. It leaves the viewer with an implicit threat. If you were forced to sit in that empty booth at 3 a.m., what specific meal would the bell demand for you? The diner suggests that we are our own most effective jailers, forever confined by the personal sins we refuse to digest.